Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 167. I'm Mox Born again. I have with me, it's my angel.
Hello.
You can bring this up a little bit so you have to lean in, and there we go. How about that? So, what's happening?
Not a whole lot.
So, it's been a little while since our last podcast, and Angel is back. Last episode was on June 27th. I had phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on. It was like a midnight show. We were both tired as hell. But we're back at our normal scheduled time, at least for this week and next week. And after that, we got vacation, so we won't be having a show. Episode 169 will be delayed a week. But who knows? Maybe we'll record it up at the lake or whatever with my brother up there. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But it won't be live, that's for sure. Yeah, so we got a small show for you. We're just going to talk about what games we've been playing, talk about M14 pre-release, and we've got a review on The Last of Us, which Angel actually watched, which I was surprised. Majority of it. You watched the majority of it.
I'd fall asleep, but I like the story. I mean, there's a lot of horror type games I've watched. I don't like the stress of playing them, but I'm interested in the story behind them.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll talk about that. But first, let's start. We'll talk about what we've been up to.
I started my new work schedule.
Yeah, you started your work schedule, so you're here at home 6 days a week working and 1 day off, which sucks, but
it's not
they're
that
like
bad.
partial days. Like some of those days are partial days.
I worked 3.5 hours today.
Right.
I mean, but I'm on call. That's the not the toss up, but that's I can't think. My brain's not functioning right now, but
That's the downside that you're on call.
Like I can work 3.5 hours in an evening, but I'm on call every night. So if the phone rings, I gotta answer it.
Right. Well, I mean, and only working 3.5 hours on the computer is nice. You know, you get a little bit of time, especially like since you have Mondays off and Tuesdays you start work late. It kind of works out in your favor that you're not saying that you work 6 days a week is it's not really true.
Try setting up upstairs 2 computers and the phone while you're having a toddler running around chasing dogs with a dump truck underneath your feet trying to get stuff done.
Right.
Yeah, it's work.
So, okay. What else has been going on as of yesterday? We went to the drive-in. That was a new experience.
It was.
So.
I haven't been since I was about 5. So what, like, I'm not gonna say how many years ago that was, but it was a long time. What? Why are you laughing?
The last time I was at a drive-in was I was in junior high. I can't remember what the movie was we watched, but I don't remember. But it was a long time ago, and it's the exact same. Like nothing's changed. You know, where like movie theaters, like seating's gotten better, sound's gotten better. Pictures gotten crisper.
Right.
This is pretty much like the media has unchanged like in the past 20 years. It's and I don't know if you can change it. It's just,
It is what it is. It's more for the it's cheaper. I mean, you get 2 movies for the price of one.
Right.
It would cost us easily over $8, like $8.50 at least a piece to go at night.
When Nick and I went and saw Superman, it was $11.75 to see that movie.
That is nuts.
And that wasn't even the 3D one. That was the standard, not like, I want to go see this movie as cheaply as possible. Would you like popcorn with that? No, I said cheaply.
Yeah, and this was, we luckily, thank you, Ducky, got Groupon, so we didn't actually end up paying for it, but, it's $8 an adult. I think a child, Eli's age is free, but even older, it's like $1, I think, and you get 2 movies.
Right.
So, I mean, the quality's not as good, but it's comfy. Well, it wasn't super comfy.
Yeah, it was kind of hot. You got to bring a fan.
And my butt hurt. I need more cushionings in the back. But
we backed the van out and opened up the the hatch door and watched it out of the back of the van, which is nice. I mean, it was relaxing. The temperature was terrible. I mean, and we were contemplating going camping this past weekend. Thank God we didn't. That would have been horrendous. Like that would have just been flat out terrible. But we saw Despicable Me 2 and Monsters University, which were both okay, pretty good movies. I enjoyed them both.
Yeah.
Eli really liked it. Say what you will about our parenting. We did have our kid up till 1:30 in the morning this morning. But he enjoyed it. He had a lot of fun. So, and I was surprised that
And he was in bed by 6 today.
Yeah. So,
It's a rare occasion thing.
right. I don't know. He enjoyed it. I was actually surprised that he stayed awake the whole time. There was a time about the beginning of Monsters Inc. where he was like laying face first, like towards the screen. I thought for sure he was going to just zonk out, but he
didn't.
He pushed on through to the other side. Anyway, so yeah. Anything else been going on? We moved the train table downstairs, so I apologize. You can see it in the background, but we'll get that moved around so it's not in the.
It's not
stream.
that big of a deal.
It is. It's annoying me so
Really?
bad.
Oh my god. It's a train table.
So we moved Eli over to his new bedroom. Well, not his new bedroom. We moved his new bed in and all that stuff, but that's who.
Yeah. Ducky moved.
Yeah, Ducky moved. We helped move Ducky. She's in Indiana now. Sad face. Yeah.
And I miss my girly wine nights. Oh yeah, and playing Magic.
A girly wine nights with Magic. But the good news is we have cameras set up on with you working at home. You now have a computer station here, so we have a camera set up on yours and a camera set up here, so we can actually effectively play online Magic together and not have to share one camera and have people like, "What is that card? What is that?" Still have that issue, but it's not two people's worth. But we'll have to get the Monday Night Magics going again. So. All right, but so let's talk about what we've been playing. You played some Elo Milo. We played some Elo Milo the other night. Had some fun with that. We were like sitting around trying to find something to play.
Yeah, I wanted something a little different.
Yeah, I came across that. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and plug this in. We probably played it for a good hour and a half, probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Got through quite a bit of stages. Some of the ones like made my brain hurt. Like Elo Milo is like this platformer, but you can't jump. You have to like follow. You're trying to find all these little your little friend guys, and you're on like this grid.
Like what was the one for the PlayStation?
Echo Chrome.
Similar
like
to that,
yeah.
And it's like I don't even know how to explain it.
It's
3D.
Yeah, you're on a 3D plane. You rotate the world around, and you move your character along these paths and try and find like all these little cogs and bits and bobs, and then you have little friends there are 3 little friends that you have to find throughout the entire every level.
Yeah, the main goal though is just to meet your other person.
Right. So there's 2 different Elo and Milo, and they're separated on these levels, and you gotta work their way together. And there's different properties different items that change the properties of the game. So like this thing will let you rotate onto a different planes. Instead of walking on straight across, you can walk on the quote unquote wall,
right,
or walk upside down, or whatever the case may be. So it's really interesting. There's different bad guys and stuff like that change what happens. Like there's different blocks that you can pick up to extend out. Platforms that move up and down and stuff like that. But it was
probably
actually
reviewed it at one point.
Yeah, I'm sure we did back in the day, but I have no idea when it was. But it was a lot of fun going back to that old game. Played some Borderlands 2. You started a new character.
Oh,
which
that's
is sweet.
what BL2 means.
Yep, Borderlands 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you started a Necromancer, correct?
Sure, if that's what she is. Yeah, the little pigtail girl.
Yeah, with the robot.
Yep.
Yeah. So you really don't like that game, do you?
I'm just not feeling. I don't know. I'm I'm in a
Hello.
slump, a video game slump. I'm in a slump from a lot of things, right? I'm just slumping.
That's good radio.
I know, isn't it? It's actually, I don't know what's causing. I need to find a new book to read. I'm feeling like a book, or I really would like to find another. I liked watching the story of The Last of Us.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right. Just I don't know.
You were really
I
just
feel
depressed
like
because
there's-
of the one guy that just died from Glee.
I was going to bring that up too, and I am. That actually really does make me just very sad. For those of I don't know if you're on Facebook, you couldn't have missed it because everyone's been talking about it, but
It hasn't been on any of my Facebook feed.
it's been on a lot of mine. But I'm also on like a fan of Glee on Facebook too.
That would be where you would see it then.
But also like some of my other friends have posted about it. But at any rate, Corey Monteith, Finn from Glee, he's actually also got two other projects in post production. So it'll be interesting to see if what happens with those. I'm sure they'll have to come out. But at any rate, he passed away Saturday due to an overdose of heroin and alcohol. Was in rehab voluntarily in April, which is why he missed the end. Last couple episodes of season 4 of Glee was not in those due to being in rehab. They were excited and announced that he would be back for season 5. And then this happened. He was, I guess, planning. He was in real life dating the girl that plays Rachel, Leah Michelle, and they were planning on moving in together here shortly, next month or two, I guess. At any rate, it's pretty. I don't know. It's just very depressing. I don't know. And I actually have been talking with some of the girls on Facebook about this. I kind of posted like, this most celebrity, they pass away, and it's like I didn't know him. It's sad, but not a big deal. But this one really kind of hit home for some reason, and posting online, seeing who else has kind of felt that with what other celebrities. A lot of people have mentioned Heath Ledger and his passing. Was that a couple years ago now? And
Yeah.
a lot of people, just posting the fact that they're the same age as you, and it's just
That's a part of getting old, though.
right.
And
but
being stupid with
but
heroin.
when you're in your 30s, I mean,
Well, right, but you're doing heroin, so
yep.
I don't know. If it was a car accident or something like that, I might feel a different way about it, but it was heroin, drugs, and alcohol. So it's kind of like,
It is stupid, but when
What
it's
can you
somebody who's
say?
been obviously trying to get help for it, who's been doing it since they were 13, that's over half their lifespan.
I don't know.
It's a hard thing to break. Addiction, it's a stupid thing to get started with in the beginning, and yes, it is making the conscious decision to put something into your body, but I know addiction is a very difficult not topic, but I don't know the word I'm trying to think of. But anyway, depressing topic for a video game.
All right, well, let's
So-
talk. Speaking of addicted, I'm addicted to magic. So let's talk about magic.
I know you are. I seriously swear that's all I ever hear you talk about. I don't think we have any real conversations. I think it's magic, and then my brain starts going like Homer Simpson with the monkey crashing symbols in the brain.
Well, there's a couple of reasons we talk about magic. The first is M14 just released. Well, it didn't release. It releases this Friday.
I had the pre-release this weekend though,
They had the pre-release this weekend. So
and I didn't get to play.
right. So I went on Sunday. No. Well, Sunday morning at midnight. And played in the 1v1 tournament. There was 10 people there, which was really sad. Like extremely sad. The last one I went to with Gate Crash, there was what did they say, 48?
Oh, there was a lot.
It was like 48 people. It was the tournament that Angel came in like 4th or 5th place in and got a whole bunch of packs and got some awesome cards. This one was like, and I'm going to I've got to remind me to tell the story about Chandra at the end of this because I'm really upset, ultra upset about this the whole shenanigans that went down. But anyway, so I as far as they did the 6 packs cards. What's wrong?
I smelled something.
Oh.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry. No, I'm just kidding. So they pass out 6 packs of cards. You build a deck from those 6 packs. It's got to be 40 or more, and you've got a living. And the rest of your cards is your sideboard. You can sideboard in whenever you want. It doesn't matter. So I open my packs of cards, and the first thing I notice is like I look through my rares first because that's usually kind of how I determine like what I'm gonna use. Like what are my powerful rares, and I've got my deck right here that I used, and I've got 5 rares in my hand. That's not good. I first game I used 2 of these rares. I rolled with a green and white deck. And I've got Oath the Ancient Wood. It's for 3. When it comes into play or another enchantment enters the battlefield under my control, I put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So I had 5 enchantments, which isn't too bad, and I got 2 of those. So I'm like, all right, that's a pretty strong turnout. I actually got 6 enchantments, but the one of them was blue. 7 because the other one's red. But I was using 5 enchantments, including these 2. So I'm like, you know what? Not too bad. I've got slivers and I can boost up some things like that. Blah blah blah. So I rolled with those, and then I got trading post, which is, in my opinion, horrible. Dismiss into Dream, which is the ultra expensive blue spell for this set for 7. It's an enchantment. Each creature your opponent controls is an illusion in addition to its other types, and has, when this creature becomes a target of spell or ability, sacrifice it. Which sounds really sweet. But the problem is, I didn't have many spells that targeted creatures in that type of way. Like, I didn't like.
Why do you want to sacrifice? I'm so confused.
Like, basically, I play this enchantment. You play this enchantment, and all their creatures, if they're ever targeted by a spell or ability, whether it's mine or theirs, they have to sack that creature. So, it stops them from buffing their creatures. It stops them from tapping and, tapping.
But why? What's an illusion thing? Like what?
It's just a creature type.
So why?
Because
is there another card that does something to illusions?
Well, no, not illusions, but creature types. And that was Door of Destinies. Basically, you can Door of Destinies puts on a +1/+1 counter for each other card in play. So like when an illusion would come into play, you'd put a counter on Door of Destinies, and all illusions would get a +1/+1 buff.
Yeah, but that would be to your opponent's creatures. That's not good.
Right, but what?
Sorry,
right.
no, I'm just trying to figure it out, and I don't. Go ahead. I'm tired. I'm running on very slow, very little sleep.
Extremely limiting card. Unless you have a way to like ping every creature for 1 damage, and then they have to sack it. That's one way that it would be useful. Like you can tap, those creatures that tap to deal 1 damage to target creature. That would mean that guy would have to sacrifice that creature. So if you have your Angel of Serenity, and I tap it to deal 1 damage, it was just targeted. Now it has to be sacrificed. So, didn't use that. Burning Earth, which is 4, it's a red card. Whenever a player taps a non-basic land for mana, Burning Death deals 1 damage to that player. So not only does it include you, but it also isn't very useful in this format, because there's 2 non-basic land, I believe. So that's really not worthless or worth anything. So after opening those up, I was like, oh god, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I put together this green and white deck. It was kind of life gain enchantment oriented, I guess, because I had those 2 enchantments. Lost to Ducky back-to-back games. Like, it was probably a matter of 10-15 minutes out of our 50-minute playtime. So went back, looked at my cards. Actually dropped a whole bunch of green down to 3 green cards, the 2 green slivers, and then I had another green spell that I was using. I don't remember what it is. Oh, the Elvish Mystic, the tap for green mana. So just a little bit of mana excel. But I put in red instead. Mainly because I had like shock and a couple of removal spells and instant damage and stuff like that. And I had Young Pyromancer, which is a 2/1 for 2. And whenever I cast an instant or sorcery spell, I put a 1/1 red elemental into play, which isn't too bad because I basically flooded my white with instant and sorcery spells that gave me health and buffs and stuff like that. So I was kind of flooding the playing field with 1/1s, it worked out perfectly. The second round I played. I also came across an issue in my first games against Ducky that I had no creatures, like big creatures. I had no like win condition. So what ended up happening is I'm like, all right, really need to think about this, and I actually opened up a Siobhan Dragon and used him. He's a reprint for 2 red and 4 colorless. He's a 5/5 with flying, and you can pay 1 red to give him +1/+0 until end of turn. So you can basically buff the hell out of him. So he worked out really well. I got him out round 2, game 2, and actually was able to put in this Fire Streaker or Shrieker for 3. Equipped creature has double strike. So I've got a double striking 5/5 with a buff ability, which is pretty sweet. A couple other cards that I used from white that actually helped out a lot. Congregate. I mean, in conjunction with Young Pyromancer, making those 1/1 elementals worked out really well. I was excited. It worked out. I think the most life I gained was 14 in one turn, so plus 14 life, which was awesome for 4, which is pretty sweet. And then a game winner for me, which I kind of used it the wrong way the first time. I used it like turn 3 just to hit for 2 extra damage, but it's Fortify. You get to choose either all your creatures get +2/+0 or all your creatures get +0/+2. And I had one creature in play, and I was like, well, I can go ahead and hit him now, and I'm not sure what it's going to be like next, when I get another chance. So I went in and played it. I hit him for 4, but it really wasn't the right time to use it, I guess. The second game in that set, I actually used it I used it at a better time. Like he was at like 12, and I hit him with 3 creatures, and he said, no blocks, because he was only taking like 5 or 6 damage, something like that. And then I dropped this down after no blocks are declared and won the game, which was outstanding. So Fortify was definitely a lifesaver. Congregate was a lifesaver.
No, I thought because we were doing something like that at one point in my deck, and was it Ducky or somebody had told me you can't do the instant like between when the person declared after the person declared blockers, like you have to put that on there and then say you're attacking.
For certain things.
I thought it was the exact same type thing.
No, I think what you're referring to is like giving a creature flying. So like if I attack with a ground creature and they block with a ground creature, in response to you blocking, I'm going to give my creature flying. That doesn't work because the creature has already been blocked. Now, if no blocks are chosen, you still cast an instant during that phase and buff him up. So, if you want to give a creature first strike, the first strike would work because he's being blocked, but the damage hasn't been dealt yet. So it's really just with certain abilities that stop damage. So all in all, I was kind of impressed with how my deck turned out. I wish I would have noticed the shortcomings of the white-green deck first. I think I would have had a little bit better shot. But at the end of the day, it was a lot of fun. So
Good.
you didn't get to play in your 2-headed giant game, which sucked. It's unfortunate. They did give you the promo cards though, which was yay for you. Even though we'll probably never use them.
Yeah.
Stupid slivers. So, let's see here. So let's talk about The Last of Us. So The Last of Us.
So you're the one who played it.
This is an awesome game. Been waiting to play it for
You
a
weren't all that
while.
excited about it to begin with.
I was ho hum about it. I've heard really good, like nonstop good things about it, and it kind of made me worried because usually when that happens, people are like are just like caught in the moment kind of thing, and they're like, "Oh, it's so sweet," blah blah blah, and they don't see its shortcomings or they don't see its flaws. But I don't know. I was under the impression it was a little bit more open worldy than what it was. But this is definitely a linear game. Like start stop. The I'm gonna tell you right now, the first hour of the game is horrible. Like I couldn't stand it. Like it was like
I don't think
after
it's horrible.
well, I mean after the story gets started, like after you get the story started, that's fine. But like as far as gameplay goes, like the first encounters, they are so handholdy. Like it's not like tutorials, but like you can clearly see like you're walking up on an edge and like you see you're on a cliff and they clearly want you to jump down,
It looks like an arena.
and it looks like
it's
an
a
arena.
circular
Exactly.
room with a couple of barricades to hide behind.
Right, and
Yeah.
there's two doors. I'm like, okay, so there's gonna be guys coming out of there, and guys gonna be coming out of there. I've got 4 or 5 different things to hide behind, and then blah blah blah, and it's just like I'm like,
Like,
oh
I'm
my
gonna jump down. There's gonna be a cutscene. Things are gonna come
right,
out.
exactly, and they did that 4 or 5 times like back to back, and I'm like, I hope the whole game isn't like this because if I'm still doing this like 2 hours in, I'm turning this game off. Like it's, ugh. Naughty Dog did a kind of a good thing design wise to not the chick that's with you. Her name is Ellie. She's an NPC. She kind of follows you around or whatever. Well, she is not detectable by the enemy AI, which in
It's kind of funny in some
it's in
circumstances.
some circumstances is absolutely hilarious, but I can see how it's necessary because it would be incredibly annoying if you yourself were undetected and then she just stands up and walks around like, "Hey, over here! Look, I'm whistling, do 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 do," and
Yeah.
then like, and she gets noticed and you have to restart the whole thing, or a lot of this game is about evasion and trying to avoid combat. Now, granted, you can go balls to the wall and shoot the shit out of people, but like
Ammo's minimal.
and that's the other thing I read was if you play on casual, you can basically it's a shooter, but if you play on hard, it's gonna be more.
Did you play on hard?
I played on hard because I wanted to sneak around and be a stealth game. A because I haven't played one of those games in a long time, and B I can't stand Uncharted shooting. I can't stand third person shooting. Like I am horrible at it, and on top of that, I don't believe the shooting in Uncharted in this game are any good.
Which brings another point. There would be times when you would be sneaking and you would get ticked off because it would almost like lead you, like there was no choice. You were gonna have to fight,
Right.
and you would get ticked off.
Well, yeah, it's just and having those combat states aren't all that bad. It does set the tone or whatever when it works. The problem that I have is when the AI makes a decision, it's not relative to the actual to what's going on. For instance, I was in a combat situation where I had one of these guys. They're called runners. They're essentially an infected creature or human that hasn't been infected for too long. It's still human, like humanoid. It still has a face. It doesn't. It tries to rip your flesh as opposed to like biting, like eating you. But I had one of those guys on me, and I'm sitting here pressing square to try and get him off me. And there's a dude with a fucking shotgun. And what does he do? He turns around, like I can see him on my screen, like, "Hey, can you help me?" My dude's screaming, "Help, help, help!" And he turns around and shoots the guys that are coming at us. I'm like, "Tell you what, if you get this guy off my back a little quicker, we could turn around. We got double shotguns. We can clear this hallway out." But it's just stupid shit like that kind of pisses me off.
You know what would be fun?
What's that?
And it does say network players 2 to 8. Is there a multiplayer?
Yeah, there's multiplayer. Yeah,
Like,
it's not. I don't believe it's co-op. I think
right.
it's
But it
competitive.
would be kind of fun because you're pretty much always with a second person, whether it's Ellie or like in the beginning, Tess, another survivor type person. But it would be kind of fun to do almost like what Halo did with Chief and the Arbiter. But do
This would,
this would have been a good.
yes, absolutely. That would have been a great. I mean, that would have been a great addition. Having someone have that take that role. In some instances, you are alone, and those instances work really, really well. I enjoy, when I was playing just as Ellie or just as Joel, like it was a lot of fun. It was terrifying because you're alone and you don't have that added support, and you're looking at your ammo like, okay, I've got 3 shots with the shotgun and I've got 1 shot with the pistol. Do I go long range or do I just sit here and hold back with the shotgun close range? It. So I mean, being singled out like that would helps the game work a little bit better as far as storyline goes, because you're not like, crouched behind a table and Ellie's standing up whistling as one of the enemies walks in. Clearly doesn't see her, but should, because she's standing up and that's who they're looking for. But it broke the game in some spots for me. Much like, at the beginning I had an exorbitant amount of ammo for my pistol and I couldn't carry anymore. I'm like, you have a backpack, dude. Put it in, find a place to carry it.
Yeah,
Like,
you wanted more of like an inventory, like with your backpack.
well, I mean, not necessarily that. I'm just thinking like you should be able to carry more ammo than what was allowed. I mean, it just seems that to me. It just seems that way. They did a great job with melee weapons breaking, shivs breaking, durability and stuff like that. There's a character upgrade system in place that I actually didn't use till the last hour of the game, which would have been awesome. So I didn't actually level up my character's health. I didn't level up his
my God.
running speed. I didn't level up his reload speed or his health reloads, speed or any of that stuff till about the last hour of the game, which, I mean, I guess it's just made the game that much harder. So I had the same amount of health all the way through till the last hour of the game, which, let me tell you, the last hour of this game is awesome. Like I have never been like so excited to play. Like when you're playing as Ellie by yourself, and I won't spoil it, but the last, when you're in the restaurant, there's a restaurant scene, and like you've been talking with and in cahoots with this one gentleman, and there's always something weird about him, like the conversations that you have, and she sees him as an enemy and he's trying to win her over or whatever, and like he finally shows his true colors after about an hour's worth of interaction with this character. Finally shows his true colors, and like there's this huge epic battle, and it's my heart was like thump 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 thump, and like, oh, it was so good. And that, like, I don't want to say level, but that interaction was kind of, it reminded me a lot of Lost, because the two main characters were split up. Ellie went off first, and then like you play like a half hour, 45 minutes of Ellie, and then you reverse back in time, and Joel wakes up and he needs to find her. He has no idea where she's at, so he's following footprints or whatever and tracking her down. And he does there's an interrogation scene which is incredibly brutal. Like you see the monster of Joel come out, and like it's real. I'm like, oh dude, he just fucked that dude up. Like, and then you go back and play Ellie, and then you go back and play Joel, and they finally meet up or whatever, and it's this really epic scene just after you finish the boss, and it's just...
I didn't get to see any of this. I was asleep because it was 5 o'clock in the morning this morning.
It was glorious. It was really, really good. We can watch it on YouTube, but it was probably one of the best video game sequences I've played in a very, very long time.
See, that's what you said. You were surprised that I watched it, and I think that's primarily because it's a zombie game.
Hmm.
And my stance on zombies is not one of favorable. I don't know who would be in favor of zombies. I know there are some people, but that's just weird. Anyway,
But the story was really good.
well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't see it necessarily as a zombie game. I mean, I played Fallout and liked Fallout,
Hmm.
and it's more. I feel like in that kind of a style, it's more of a
Survival.
survival in like, and it takes place not during like the initiation of zombies, but like after like time has passed and
Right.
there's like a formation of like these different groups and cultures and organizations, governments, like
Resistance.
right. It's
There's a couple different factions that are going on in different stories and
right. So
kind of
it's
seeing
more
where everybody's tied into everybody else and interactions are.
right. So you're not only fighting zombies, but you're also dealing with these other groups of people that are out there.
See, I think that's why you would like Walking Dead. Now,
But it's real people, and it's gross. Like, and okay, and yes, video game graphics have gotten really good and all that, but I can differentiate video game from real life. I have a hard time like real people on TV from real life.
but the story is really good, and like the human interaction, like it's not to get off topic here, but with Walking Dead, it's in some episodes it's more about the human on human interaction rather than the human and undead interaction. Like there are I'm not going to say there are a lot of gruesome scenes, and that's
what
they
I
have
have.
to be there because that's the environment they live in. But more often than not, you're seeing like two humans interact. I mean, you watched that one bar scene with me the other day. There was no humans or no humans. There was no zombies involved in that, and 6 people lost their lives during that whole like
Right,
session.
and that's fine. It's just the zombie things. It just freaks me out. The idea of them. This is gross.
So,
Oh.
but all in all, the very end of the game was excellent. I highly recommend it. If you want a good story and you want a good experience, a challenging experience, I would recommend playing on hard, just because it does offer up a little bit more challenging situations. You don't get overcome with ammo, and that doesn't become like you're not. If you are weak-willed, you might look at your ammo and say, "Well, I've got 15 shots of a shotgun. I'm just going to roll through these guys," because there's not a lot of guys. I mean, when you're fighting humans, there's not usually a lot of humans, but when there's the clickers and the runners, you're usually facing upwards of 7 or 8, sometimes in the double digits at one time.
Which
So-
doesn't sound like a lot, but it can get overwhelming.
Right, because you're shooting 6 shots at a time.
they come
having
at
to
you quick.
reload. Right, they come at you quick, and the clickers are instant kill, unless you have one of the character power ups that lets you use a shiv to get them off of you, which I didn't have till the end of the game.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, the little pills you pick up. Yeah, those are like skill points. Yeah, I was like wondering because like I kept breaking into these one rooms that you had to use a shiv to get into. I kept picking up these pills. I'm like, what the fuck are these for? Like I have no
Oh my
clue what these
gosh.
pills are for, and like I just figured they were kind of like enhancements or whatever, and that's kind of what it said in the beginning. Use the pills for enhancements or whatever. So I'm like, I really don't want to, run faster if it causes my health to decrease. That's kind of what I assumed it was, like a minor buff, but it came at a cost. But then I'm like picking up like 50 and 60 of these things, and I'm like, by the end of the game, I had 850 pills.
Oh
but
my
I,
god.
but I could only carry 60 bullets. Like, wow, dude, you got a problem, Joel. Prescription drug OD. So like at the the last hour of the game, I sat there and popped 800 pills. My dude's health was through the roof.
You're like, wow,
I-
this game is different now.
Oh yeah, I can stab a clicker that's on my back with a shiv, and the shiv doesn't break. I couldn't do that at all, but the first one is do it. Use a complete shiv, like a full shift, and get one off of you, and then the next level of that is use a shiv and it won't break. So you basically and you still have your shiv. Which shivs are important. Shivs are very important. But I really enjoyed it. It looks gorgeous. Lighting is dead on. Character development.
Yeah, I mean that's Naughty Dog. I mean with Uncharted, it's
They're great storytellers.
yeah,
mean,
they really are.
You meet up with a long list of characters and from all different kinds of backgrounds, and when you meet up with Michael and his son, or not Michael and his son, I don't remember. It looks like Michael. It looks exactly like Michael and Walt, like from Lost. Looks exactly like
I
them.
think one was Scott maybe or something. I don't know.
But yeah, it doesn't bode well for them. But all in all, I enjoyed it. So definitely a buy. There's a Game Plus on there, so after you finish it, it gives you the option to go through it again on a harder difficulty. So when this game, maybe for Christmas or birthday, I got extra $35 or $50 when it hits the cheapy list. I might pick it up and play it on Hard Game Plus. But it's definitely something. I didn't play any of the multiplayer. I don't believe in that stuff for these types of games. Uncharted's multiplayer was horrible.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
not what it's made
don't
for.
ruin the experience. Don't play this single player, then go play multiplayer. It'll ruin it. Just play the single player all the way through.
Although you're reviewing it and saying it will ruin it, and you've never played it.
It will. It will ruin it because it pulls you out of the game. It pulls you out of the lore. How you're playing as this Joel character. Do you play as Joel in the multiplayer? Who knows? I mean, you have 30 different Joels running around. I don't know. It just don't do it. Just play the single player because that's
If you tried it.
no, screw that. This game is not a multiplayer game. This is a single player game right here. Now if it said
You're letting
if
your
it said
bias get in the way.
I am letting my bias get in the way. But if it said co-op, I would say finish it first and then do it as a co-op experience. Because it's such a great game.
I can't.
All right, guys.
I'm sorry. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep. I didn't take nap like some people did
I did
today.
take a nap today.
You've taken a few naps today.
It was glorious. All right, so I guess that will be it. We'll be back next week, July 23rd, same time, 10:30 or 10 o'clock. Ustream.tv/channel/BC podcast. We have our modern tournament coming up, so if you're in the Dayton area and want to get in on some modern Magic tournament gameplay stuff, we have that going on Saturday night, the 20th, at Buffalo Wild Wings, which is awesome. Totally excited about that. We'll have some
Beer Sports.
video games, Magic. We'll have some Rock Band. Probably be playing some Halo, Call of Duty. We'll play some Magic. We'll play some pickup games. It'll be all kinds of fun. We've got Modern Masters to hand out, packs for the winners, all kinds of good stuff. So, yeah. Head over to the Facebook page and you'll see all the good information there. Other than that, guys, I got nothing else. You good? All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Good night.